Hey there, everyone. This is Samuel Johnson, and welcome back to the Lyoko Retrospectives. And today we're going to be discussing episode 15 of Code Lyoko, Laughing Fit. And I guess I'll get the character stuff first. In this case, the stuff with the plot with the kids involves some family drama with Yumi. In this case, her parents got into a kind of a fight. That no one really knows what the argument was about. Not even Yumi, but unfortunately, whatever the fight was, apparently it was so bad that her dad is not living at her house anymore, opting instead to live with a friend. Pretty much, it's gotten to Yumi to the point where for the past 2 days she hasn't been willing to talk to anybody. But Ulrich decides to just kind of work up. But Ulrich decides to kind of does eventually get her to open up to him by coming to her house with a rose, and she explains this whole situation. As such, to try and get them together, they decide to do kind of a they kind of do, I guess they can easily just say kind of a sitcom plot thing, wherein they trick both of her parents to coming to a play. In this case, the school is going to be putting on a show. The school's going to be putting on a showing of Romeo and Juliet, and Sissy is going to be playing Juliet because I think she's kind of mostly in charge of it, and so of course she wants Odd to play Romeo, but she's not gonna. But he's not interested. However, Odd thinks that if Yumi is in the play, then they can get her parents to show up, and thus they can actually talk through they can actually talk about their problems. Uh, but in order for but Sissy and while Sissy does agree, she says that Odd has to be she has that Ulrich has to be Romeo. So he's kind of stuck with the role. Look at the roll. However, this is where we get to. However, this is kind of also butted into a little bit when we get to our Xana plot. In this case, I will think this is actually one of the few plots, and this is actually one of the episodes I remember kind of just for the story. In this case, Xana manages to gain access to manages to. I guess I can easily say possess laughing gas. I'm not even kidding. He manages to get to NO2, I think that was what it was, and pretty much just brings it to life. And as with some of his other plots that deal with certain stuff, he goes directly for the Lyoko kids. Like he first hits Odd when he's practicing when they're during rehearsals for the play as he's supposed to be doing work, which causes him to get into a laughing fit, which Sissy thinks is an insult. And while she pours water on him to get him to knock it off, it does actually save him. It does save him, but they realize that something's going on, and so then they realize something's going on, and they even go into the science lab to see if the laughing gas is still there, and sure enough, both canisters are empty. As such, Odd and Jeremy go to the factory the next day to check it out, and sure enough, we see that Aelita is being chased by boxes. So yeah, there is something going on. However, as Jeremy sends Odd into Lyoko, he gets attacked by the laughing gas, and unfortunately, he has to run before he can finish the virtualization process. Or, but unfortunately, when he ran, he either hit the wrong key or the laughing gas got into the scanner, because we saw a bit of the laughing gas go into Odd's scanner. But either way, whichever the cause is, it affected Odd's virtualization process negatively, and he's just weak to the point where he feels like he's going to collapse. As such, he has to hurry this up before he does. While in the meantime, Jeremy is just running around the factory with the laughing gas chasing after him, to the point where it eventually corners him in the sewer, and the only reason it doesn't get him is that he jumps into the water and into the sewer water. But even then, that just sticks him between a rock and a hard place as the water is freezing, and if he stays in there too long, he'll most likely get hypothermia. So it's either freezing to death or dying of laughter. And of course, to make matters worse, some of the gas even goes right during the play and hits both Ulrich and Yumi, and it causes them both to go into laughing fits, to the point where where Yumi's parents kind of make up to try and save their daughter, but even then, when they ultimately get the laughing gas out of them, it just makes a beeline right back for them. It's actually I'll get into it when I finish with the summary, but put simply, it's actually kind of creepy and kind of a little horrific. Either way, Odd, even in his weakened state, manages to find where Aelita is holding out as she went to a deactivated tower, but it's surrounded by blocks. And through some trickery, he's able to destroy the block. He's able to destroy the blocks and free Aelita. But they make their way to the tower. Unfortunately, it's in a labyrinth, and while they're able to get through, Odd ultimately collapses because he's just getting too weak. But he does manage to have a vision of where Aelita should go. As such, he directs her to where. As such, he gets her in the right direction. She does manage to find the tower, and as always, she manages to deactivate it, and time gets reversed. Time gets reversed so that no one's being hit by the laughing gas. So that the laughing gas is no longer being possessed and is now inert. As such, for the epilogue, they now know how they decided they're going to try to do the same plot again, as they were able to get Yumi's parents there, and it did seem to bring them together when the crisis is looming. So maybe they think of a bad situation, get them together. Maybe they can try something positive. In this case, Odd has to go back to still has to get to Romeo, and in this case, Yumi is instead going to be helping him with lines. And as such, hold on a second. Sorry, I thought I heard a commotion. Anyways, I was saying, they managed to pretty much just turn the whole play around by causing intentional mishaps that gets the audience to laugh, and it does seem to get Yumi's parents to at least reconcile over laughing. So whether or not this actually fixed everything is yet to be seen. We'll have to watch future episodes for that, but otherwise it does seem to be a start. So, yeah. Overall, what I think of this episode, I actually do like it. Like I said during the summary, it's one of the few episodes that I actually do remember from when I was a kid. The plot kind of stuck out for me because this is kind of an example of Xana kind of almost winning by just getting them at the right time. I'm not even kidding. Like, if Aelita had been actually a little too late, Xana could have gotten all four Lyoko kids in one. Could have gotten all four Lyoko kids. I'm not even kidding. Like, Xana managed to corner Jeremy into the sewer and pretty much stuck in between a rock and a hard place. He could either freeze to death in the water, or he could get out of it and then get hit and then laugh himself to death. Ultimately, he does try diving underwater and goes further down the sewer line and makes a run for it, but the gas still manages to catch him, and he does get thrown into a laughing fit. And what makes it even creepier is that after it hits him, it cuts back to him later, and it's obvious that he's losing air. It's obvious. Well, I think that's the best way of saying it, because he can barely breathe, but he can't stop laughing. It's actually kind of creepy just seeing him slowly kind of passing out as even though he can't stop laughing. Same goes for Yumi and Ulrich when they're at the play. They both get hit simultaneously, and while they're able to dispel it are able to get rid of the laughing gas with a bottle of water, they use all the water up, and the laughing gas just flies right back at them. It's actually really it's really scary, and by sheer coincidence, Odd is also affected too, indirectly, but still. Yeah, he got hit with a laughing gas, but it left him when they hit him with the water. But because the gas got to Jeremy at just the right moment, Jeremy screwed up Odd's virtualization, so he's getting weaker and weaker in Lyoko. And if Aelita had not deactivated the tower when she did, it makes it clear that all four of them could have died. And it does make me wonder what's up with how badly these kids can be messed up, just how tough these kids are, considering that every time that they go back in time, they just kind of write everything off. Especially since before everything was fixed, all of them almost did die. It's actually really creepy. And the chosen method for this episode, I think, is kind of a cruel method. Like, hold on a sec. Sorry, still kind of hearing commotion. Anyway, as I was saying, the method by which Xana attacks in this episode, I think, is just kind of horrific, actually. Like, imagine just getting I imagine choking to death, just slowly running out of oxygen. You can imagine you're stuck. It's a similar situation with the gas, in the third episode with the gas that if you breathe in too much, it's like the situation in the third episode with the poison gas. The more you breathe in, the worse it gets, and it's like when Jim and Sissy got sequestered in the closet. They're stuck in a room without a ventilation, and they're running out of oxygen. And to top it all off, outside is a gas that if they breathe too much of it in, they'll pass out and potentially die. It's a similar case to the laughing gas. In this case, it But in this case, instead of being toxic, it just makes you keep laughing. You can't control yourself. You're losing air as you keep laughing. You can't take in deep breaths. You can't get any circulation, and you can't stop laughing. You're just slowly losing consciousness, and even if you fall unconscious, you could still keep laughing and just kind of it's just kind of creepy and horrific when you think about it. And it's just a very horrific way to die. And again, I think it shows more of Xana's cruelty. Again, like just the fact that he chose his method, and and the fact and he actually is smart. Actually, kind of he targets in on all the Lyoko kids. At one point, he does seem to hit the auditorium during the play, but I'm guessing. But they all stop laughing at some point, and then it's ultimately just Ulrich and Yumi who are the ones that get hit with the laughing gas. But it's still a really horrific way to die, and this is just again, and it just continues to show more of Xana's cruel personality, and it just really it just gives me the shivers thinking about it. And again, like I said, Xana almost won this time. If Aelita had not gotten the tower when they did, and again, I know they cut it close for every episode, but he almost got all four of them at once. That's a kind of big win. That would have been a really big win. That he was this close. And again, I know they cut it close for every episode, so yeah. But anyway, again, the plot also wound up indirectly affecting one of the people on Lyoko. So again, he almost got them all. But whatever. Again, when I think for the next potential thing, but yeah, I think that's what I remember the most about this episode, and I think that's actually kind of that's one of another strengths. Another aspect of it that I liked is kind of the stuff with Yumi. While it kind of goes into the resolved quickly sort of thing, at the very least, I do kind of like seeing that the group still has their own troubles. In this case, we get some more drama with Yumi as we see her kind of getting sad and kind of dealing with dealing with home issues. In this case, her parents are fighting to the point where they're separated. They're not divorced, obvious. I don't think they're divorced, but if it's so bad that her dad is living with a friend, then yeah, that's kind of where it's kind of big, and yeah, and you gotta understand why Yumi doesn't want to talk to anyone about it. It's when you're a kid in this certain situation is not gonna be very talkative. They are gonna be a little antisocial, and that's what Yumi is. Yes, ultimately Ulrich does still kind of work his way into getting her to talk by being sweet to her, just being nice, but it is nice potential drama. Again, it does sort of devolve into sort of kooky antics somewhat as they trick Yumi's parents into coming to the play. But I think it would have been better if we actually sort of saw her parents talking. It's a good start if you ask me, just seeing how it affects Yumi. But I think it would have been better if we actually did sort of see the parents talking, like we actually see them work off each other, maybe apologize, even to the point, and kind of work in the stuff with where Yumi doesn't seem to remember what they were arguing about, and even the neighbor says he doesn't know. The neighbor that her dad's living with doesn't know what the argument was about. No, so the fact that he didn't even tell him makes me think that even the parents are kind of in the dark. But at this point, it's like a matter of pride, which sometimes arguments are like that, even with people that care about each other. They just sort of they just sort of like that. It just so again, it sort of makes sense, and it does lead to some good potential drama. My only problem with it is how it's resolved. We don't really see them talking with each other or kind of working through it. It's just working like it's just kind of drop when their daughter's in danger. And again, it makes sense. Even couples that are arguing would probably put some difference aside if their kids in trouble, but it's also sort of just resolved like that in the ending. Now again, to give the episode the benefit of the doubt, it would be nice if like maybe this was just the start. Like maybe in later episodes they kind of expand on this, like just talk about it here and there, maybe somewhat. It's just that I feel like it could have been more. Is what I'm saying. I feel like the drama with Yumi's parents could have been more. Like we see, it has a good beginning and a good setup. We see Yumi dealing with some drama and with her parents, we see getting her eventually to talk about it, and her supporting her and helping her through this. And we even see just how it affects her parents to the point where they don't want to see each other. And yeah, again, arguments can be like that. They can be really stupid. To the point where even the people who argued don't even remember what it is, but neither of them are willing to give up the ghost, so they just keep at it until they can adequately say, "I'm the victor here." It's just that I feel like that could have been a nice way. I feel like it could have been a nice thing to explore. It's a good start. It's just that I kind of would have wanted more. But again, if there is more in later episodes, fine. I'll get fine. Then I'm hoping so. But otherwise, this is something that otherwise it's a good start. Could have had more to it. That's all I'm saying. Otherwise, the episode was still fine. The thread is still nice. Like the B plot with the kids is still has a decent start. We do get a little bit as we do kind of get some more stuff with Alita as Jeremy explains what's going on with Yumi, and we actually kind of and even Alita wonders why they don't have anything, why they don't argue, and even Jeremy wonders if it's normal for them to not argue. Otherwise, but and again it's just sort of horrific seeing the kids just start to laugh, just laughing themselves to death, and Xana almost winning and getting them all in one go. So yeah, on the whole, fun episode, pretty nice. Oh, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson. I'll see you next week. Take care.